Hey guys, it's Margarita Yang back with another video for you today. Today is Tuesday, March 5th, 2024, and today's video is a little bit different. It is based on these marketing materials that I got from some people running for a local political position. I wanted to wait until the election was over to make this because I don't want to sway anyone's opinion, because this is really more about personal branding. So today I wanted to make some comments about this person who was running in my district. His name is John David Oates, 170 Gore Street in Cambridge. And he was running against this man named Todd B. Taylor. So I'm a registered Republican, and 2 weeks ago, I received a whole bunch of marketing in the mail for these two candidates, for John Olds and Todd Taylor. And I'm just like reading the things that they have here, and I can't tell the difference between these two guys. Like, they both are basically saying, like, we can't afford illegal immigration. Can you afford to sit this election out? So both of them are talking about stopping illegal immigration and the flow of migrants into the state of Massachusetts. So it's like, I mean, what's different about you two? You know, like, I want to ask John, really, John, why should I vote for you over Todd? Why shouldn't I vote for Todd, right? And then I want to ask Todd, like, Todd, why should I vote for you and not John? I really, I couldn't tell the difference. And I got this letter from John, and at the bottom of the letter it says, please do not hesitate to reach out to me if you have any questions. My email address is johnoatesgop@gmail.com, and then my personal cell phone number is this. So he gave his contact information, but I've been so busy. I don't really have time to go and reach out to these guys. I really wanted to reach out to John before today and ask him, why should I vote for you over your, your other candidate here? So here's what I did when I first got these marketing pieces in the mail. The first thing I did was I opened up my phone, Google, and then I typed the words John Olds into my browser in Google. And now I know Google gives you search results based on your location, so I have this in like a private browser. So this is what shows up when you search John Olds. You get a Twitter account for John Olds, and then you get what, like he works here. I think he works at Hamilton Place Strategies. He has a full-time job here at Hamilton Place Strategies. And then a second Twitter link. It's probably the same as the first. Now he has a website, and then the other results are not his. So only the first 4 results that show up on Google belong to John Olds, who's running for this position. And this is John R. Olds. It's not the same one. This is John Olds 1981. Definitely not. This is the picture of John Olds. It's the same guy we're talking about here. Here's another one. It's the Twitter. So it's the third Twitter link again. And then 50 profiles for possible John Olds that you're looking for. Let's open this up. A whole bunch of John Olds on Facebook, not necessarily the specific one that I'm looking for. So basically, for John Olds, he really only has 3 unique links that show up on a Google search result for his name. That's his Twitter, that's the place where he works at Hamilton Place Strategies, and then johnolds.com. Here's the problem with that. So when I opened this up, I opened up the link for this page, and then I was like, yeah, this is the guy that I'm trying to do my research on. And I see here at the top, oh, he has a LinkedIn. He has a LinkedIn. Why didn't the LinkedIn show up in a Google search result? That's weird, right? So I click that, and now it's asking me to log in. Okay, because I'm on a private browser. So let me just, here. So I clicked it, and then it brought me here to this page. I'm logged into LinkedIn. So sometimes when you're not logged into LinkedIn, you cannot see the profile pictures. He just doesn't even have a profile picture on his LinkedIn. And then he didn't put his whole name. He put John O. period. So that's why this doesn't show up on a Google search result, because he didn't put his whole name, John Olds. So Google's not indexing this properly to know, like, oh, all of these search results should tie back to the same person, right? And I know it's the same person because he's in Boston. This is John Olds in Boston, and Hamilton Place Strategies. He works here, right? So I know it's the right guy, but it's just not showing up on Google. So the reason why I'm bringing this up today, and how does this relate to your job search? Well, before anybody wants to give you any sort of opportunities in life, business, job. So a lot of people watching these videos are here for their job search advice. John Olds in particular, so I took a look at his profile, and he graduated. I think he graduated in 2022, but I'm not really sure, unless he left the years off. So he left the years off. But then I went on one of those like whitepages.com, and then I think I found out his age. He's in his mid-20s or around this time of his life. So my recommendation for somebody like this who wants to build their career and really progress is, one of the most important things you need to work on, especially if you're going to be in the public sphere, is you need to be able to be searchable online. You can't avoid it, right? Being searchable online and having all your social media profiles fleshed out and curated, having your own website, these days, that's the new resume. And I don't know what the results were for tonight's election. I don't know if John Olds won or if it was Todd Taylor. I tried to look it up. I don't know where I can find the search results. So if someone could explain that to me, that would really be helpful. But I honestly think someone who is in John's position, they would do much better if they worked a lot more on their personal branding. And here are just a few tips that anybody can implement. If you're in this person's shoes, you can implement this. With the things that I'm teaching you, they're not hard at all. So here's the first thing I recommend, okay? And I'm actually going to send this video to John Oates after I'm done recording this and I upload it to YouTube. So something that I noticed, where was it actually? He actually has a middle name. I think I saw it somewhere. I don't remember. Where was it? John Oates. Where was it? No, right there at the bottom. So I don't know if you can see this. So it says, sincerely, John D. Oates, right? So that's the only place that I managed to find out that he actually has a middle name. And then when I went on the website here, the Secretary of State for Massachusetts website, I found out his full name is actually John David Oates. So one of the first things that John Oates can do is he needs to update all of his profiles on all platforms to reflect his full name, John David Oates. So there's like a whole bunch of John Oates in this world, but there's very few John David Oates. He's probably the only John David Oates in existence. I'm not really sure. Let's Google that, right? John David Oates. It's very few search results showing up because now Google thinks I'm looking for David Oates, right? So I think really John David Oates, John David Old, very few, right? So John Oates in this situation, he actually has a potential opportunity to capitalize on the fact that he has a very unique name if he were to actually use his full name. So on all of the marketing, it shouldn't be John Oates, it should be John David Oates. Every single part of the marketing. You see the top of this, John Oates, it should have said John David Oates. His LinkedIn profile, it shouldn't be John O. It should be John David Oates. What else? It was Twitter as well, right? John Oates. Twitter, he could update his Twitter to say John David Oates. And then the next thing is this site, John David Oates, right? Everything that you put everywhere needs to say John David Oates. That way, as you progress in your career, as you do more interviews, as you appear in the news, as people write about you in news publications, right? As you basically like get your name out there, you want people who are writing about you, who are talking about you online, to reference you as John David Oates. That way, when they search for you and they go like, I want to check this guy out. Like, who is he? What's he all about? Everything that shows up is tied back to you as the individual, not another John Oates in existence, but to John David Oates. This applies to not just the name, but also to the biography. So you want to make sure you use, even in your biography, John David Oates. So that's the first thing. And the reason I say this is because I'm Annie Yang. Okay, I'm Annie Yang. And 10 years ago, when I was starting out and I was basically trying to build my personal brand online, I had a blog back then. It was called AnnieYangNYC.com or something like that. I decided to get rid of the NYC part because I was like, that's stupid. I'm not always going to live in New York City. So why am I doing that? So, and then AnnieYang.com. The domain was up for sale, but for $5,000. I don't want to spend $5,000 just to buy a domain name. But Annie Margarita Yang. So when you search on Google Annie Yang, the search results don't tie back to me, right? Yang and Associates LLP. So it's the law firm. I'm the second one, Annie Yang Financial. But then again, this is not the private browsing mode, so it probably knows I'm searching for myself. So let me try the private browsing mode just to show you here. Annie Yang. Okay, so that's good. Annie Yang Financial is still second. Annie Yang Financial shows up here. But aside from that, you see Annie Yang Perez, Annie Dash Yang. There's a graphic designer living in New York City who happens to be named Annie Yang as well. So someone could have mistaken me for her if I still lived in New York City. Annie Yang, the attorney. Now this one's mine, Annie Margarita Yang. But you can tell, like, not all of these results belong to me. They belong to so many Annie Yangs in this world. So the reason why I always say at the beginning of every single video, hi guys, it's Annie Margarita Yang. Welcome back to another video. I have to say my name in the video because the YouTube AI, they also transcribe and put the captions in the video, right? So they can know what your video is about. So if I don't verbally say it in my video, they don't necessarily know. So I always say, hi, it's Annie Margarita Yang. And the reason why I'm just so insistent, every time I go on a podcast interview, every time I introduce myself, I always say I'm Annie Margarita Yang. And make sure you use Annie Margarita Yang when you're using my bio, when you're referencing me, anything that's like in written form online that will tie back to me, please make sure it's Annie Margarita Yang. I always tell everyone when they're doing something related to me, an interview or something, it's Annie Margarita Yang. Please get that into your head. And the reason why is because now when you're on Google and you search Annie Margarita Yang, look, like the search results, they all tie back to my name. And that's just a very simple tip, just a very simple secret. Like, look how many search results tie back to me. Like, I'm still scrolling and all of these are still mine. And the only reason is simply because I was so darn consistent in using my name everywhere. So I use Annie Margarita Yang on now I don't have a following. I'm not active on these sites, but like on the Twitter, on Instagram, I posted nothing, so please don't follow me. So far, it's my my TikTok, you know, it's my YouTube channel, it's my Facebook, like every single possible thing that I have made an account on Quora, right, on Reddit, Annie Margarita Yang, right? Like everything, all of it is Annie Margarita Yang because I want those to show up in a Google search result. So now when people search for me, it looks like, wow, she has so much out there. So this is just one of my tips for John David Oates. If you want to progress in your career, a very easy tip is to just use your full name going forward. Take the time to update all of your profiles. The other thing, specifically for John, that I could think of is, so you notice how John needs a headshot. Honestly, if you're gonna work in politics, you need a really, really nice headshot. Um, like, do you guys want to vote for this? I mean, I want to vote for somebody who's super professional, and this is just too casual. It looks like you're at a sports game, right, with a whole bunch of people in the background. This needs to be updated. Like, if you want to work in politics, I really think you need to have a much more polished look. And one of the first things you can do is you need to get a headshot, because that headshot is that first impression. So you see how, like, this is so professional? At the very least, you need to be consistent. Like, you have this one here where smiling with no teeth, then this one here smiling with teeth, right? You want to be consistent. You want to use one headshot, because the internet is basically one big town hall. So pick one headshot. He already has a headshot, right? So I recommend this one. I want someone who's friendly, someone who's going to smile, shake my hand, look me in the eye. I like this one more than the one with no teeth. So I recommend, if you're not going to take a new headshot and use an existing one, use this one. Please update it here on your Twitter profile, and update it on your LinkedIn as well, because your LinkedIn has no picture, and you're not doing yourself justice, honestly. Those are my two pieces of advice for John. This is a free video, so there's only so much I can offer, right? I give these tips for free. If John wants to reach out and ask me for more advice personally, I'd be happy to help. But if anyone has any questions about how they can build their name online and personally brand themselves, please ask in the comments, and I will make my future videos always based on the comments that I get below. I think that's it for you guys tonight, and I guess have a good night. I'm going to upload this video and send it to John. Have a good night, guys. Take care.